So I saw Beastars and it was surprisingly good. Also spoilers. Beastars are set in the world where all the inhabitants are anthropomorphic animals. It's kind of like Zootopia, but darker and a lot more adult. One thing I like about the show is the world. Like, you have the relationship between carnivores and herbivores. But there's some discrimination because some people don't like carnivores, especially after an incident at the beginning of the show where an alpaca is murdered by a carnivore. I'll get to more of this later. But in this world, we have a literal black market because eating meat is illegal, and there's a furry yakuza led by lions. And since we're talking about the show's world, I should probably mention what a Beastar actually is. The title of Beastar is basically awarded to the animals that stand out most in society to unite animals, and every school has to nominate a Beastar, I think. There isn't that much known about Beastars, or I wasn't paying enough attention. The animation's really good on the show. It's CGI, but it has the look of 2D animation, and the intro stop motion, and it looks really good. The humor is pretty good as well. I mean, not all of it is laugh out loud hilarious, but still funny. Like, there's a scene where a mouse is yelling at a bunch of larger animals. And I love the scene of Juno chasing Haru. And there's even a hen that sells her eggs to restaurants around the school. Or did I mention this is set at a school? Which is honestly quite funny. However, despite its comedic moments, the show is mostly serious. And as I said, the first episode starts with an alpaca being murdered by a carnivore, which never gets resolved in this season, but I think the second one will. And there was already some tension between carnivores and herbivores, but even more so after this. And the characters are supposed to suppress their predatory nature, but this isn't easy. Like, at the end of the first episode, Legoshi attacks Haru on instinct, but at the start of the second episode, he comes to his senses and stops. This season has two story arcs, the first being about the school's drama club after the death of an actor and the play they were making, and the second is about the school's media festival, Legoshi and Haru's relationship, and Haru getting kidnapped by the Shishigumi, the furry yakuza. I'm not really going into details on those, you should just watch the show, and this video is late enough as it is. Now let's talk about the characters. I won't talk about all of them, just the important ones. The main character is a gray wolf named Legoshi. He works behind the scenes at the school's drama club. He's very awkward and introverted. His only friend is a Labrador named Jack, who is a lot more joyful and fun-loving than he is. However, despite being rather calm and deadpan, he can be threatening when he needs to be. One night, while standing guard outside the school theater, he happens to smell a rabbit named Haru walking by, and he acts on his instincts and attacks her, even injuring her before letting her go. But he becomes obsessed with Haru and eventually catches feelings for her. But he's struggling with his predatory nature, and she doesn't seem to know that he was the one who attacked her that night. And he knows she's in a relationship with Lewis. He even fights the furry yakuza to get her back with the help of a panda with a bamboo crossbow. So basically, if you're in love with someone and they're in a relationship with someone else, grab him by the arm forcibly at a train station and take him to a bathroom stall where you grow closer as friends. Perfect moral message, can't see that going wrong ever. Then there's Haru, or as Netflix likes to call her, Hal. She's a rabbit who's the only member of the gardening club, and is a bit infamous around the school because of her promiscuity, and is usually made fun of by other girls because of it. She's kind of an outcast like Legoshi is, but she's more outgoing than he is. We do get some backstory to Haru, revealing that her parents were quite overprotective because she was the smallest in her family, and her mother tells her that dwarf rabbits are at a disadvantage among other herbivores, and her having sex is the only way she feels equal to other animals. She even tries to do it with Legoshi when he goes to the gardening club to get flowers for the drama club, but he gets scared and leaves. They eventually do get together after Legoshi saves her from the furry yakuza, but they have to prevent their natural instincts from getting in the way. And then there's Lewis, or as Netflix likes to call him, Ruis, but I'm just going to keep calling him Lewis because it's better. He's basically the most popular student at the school, head of the drama club, and he's candidate to be a Beastar. In one episode, we learn that he was sold to the black market as a child, and has a 4 tattooed on his foot, and that he was bought by a deer to be his adopted son. And then he does what any good dad would do, toss him into a room with several carnivores with only a knife to protect himself. And years later, he's at the school and he's in a relationship with Haru. And when she gets kidnapped by the furry Yakuza, he's bribed by the mayor, a lion who works with them, to keep quiet about that. And after Legoshi saves Haru, Lewis almost shoots him but decides not to, instead killing the Yakuza boss and faces off against two lions where his fate remains ambiguous, but I'm pretty sure he's coming back. There's other characters on the show that I don't feel like getting into, like Jack, who I mentioned earlier, Juno, a wolf who's obsessively in love with Legoshi, and Bill, a tiger who's part of the drama club and the main antagonist of the first story arc. Overall, Beastars is surprisingly good. I'm genuinely looking forward to Season 2 next year, and I'm giving Beastars an 8 out of 10. It's closer to a 9 than a 7. I remember I had at least a couple minor flaws, but I don't remember what they were, so they must not have been important. Well, I finally got that out of the way. Hunter's review is next, and just remember, subs not dubs, because I watched some clips of the English dub, and if that was the version I watched, the score would be much lower. Okay, bye.